Rebel Yell podcast here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Here to honor our WPIAL Week 8 Team of the Week. A lot of big wins. You know, you get into the stretch run, the final 3 weeks of the regular season. Teams fighting for playoff spots, teams fighting for conference championships. A lot of good action. And nothing like late October football, which then takes us into November football, which is what everyone's trying to get to. A lot of big wins, but maybe none bigger than the Allegheny 6 Class 5A victory for the Moon Tigers. They are our team of the week, and their head coach, Ryan Linn, kind enough to join us. Got the big tiger paw on his shirt there. Looking good. Ryan, we appreciate you joining us. Congratulations.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for having me on. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Big showdown with Upper St. Clair for second place in the Allegheny 6 Conference in your backyard, and quite a battle. We had the chance. We had this game on the network, so I had a chance to watch a good chunk of it. Pretty much what you thought. I mean, defense ruled the day, especially in the first half. Scoreless first half. But two teams that can put points on the board, but two teams I think that are starting to have an identity of playing pretty good defense.
Yeah, I think their defense gets kind of maybe takes a backseat to their offense. I mean, they score 40-plus points a game. They average 420 yards a game. So, to hold them to 0 points in the first half was a testament to our defensive staff and our kids. They really came out to play Friday night. A little extra motivation. It was senior night for us. So, stressing all week. It's senior night. It's the last guaranteed home game unless you go out and get a W, and those kids took care of business on Friday.
Are you ever concerned? Some coaches are, whether it be homecoming, whether it be senior night, that those extra activities sometimes can chip away at the focus.
I think they can. I try to stay. I'm very regimented with our routine on Friday, so I try to make sure that the routine doesn't get messed up. So we have a little thing, we started this a couple years ago. They have a little meet and greet with the parents and the kids, and we do this teacher tribute to the teacher they recognize who helped them out to high school. We do that. We have a half-hour block. We do that, and then come back over, go through our normal stretch. Then we went out a little bit early so the kids get through their flex and their indie periods. And then we had 26 seniors, so there was no fast way to get through. I mean, there was 26 football players, and there was another 20 in the band, and then another 10 cheerleaders at halftime. Halftime was 25 minutes, 5 minutes longer. So it was we try to stay in routine as much as possible. So the kids weren't standing around and waiting, and the other kids weren't, off doing whatever. It's we try to stay as much and then talk about hey, get through this. We went back in, reloaded, refocused, and came back out and played. So just trying to talk them through preparing for the situation for the week without just showing up Friday oh, we got to change everything on the fly. We kind of try to keep it as normal as possible for them.
The Panthers, you mentioned their offense from a year ago. They did most of their damage on the ground, some of it in wildcat formation. This year they have sort of been a lot more diverse. Ethan Hellman, who was the quarterback a year ago, they've relied on him a lot more, and he's having himself quite the season. You mentioned a tribute to your defensive coaches and the players, but I mean, you had to have been not expecting a goose egg up on the scoreboard through 2 quarters.
No, I mean, we were able to get pressure on Ethan and make him kind of just speed his thought process up a little bit. I mean, he's usually, you watch the film, he's back there just my father-in-law said, could eat a sandwich back there, but we sped up the process a little bit. We got to him, made him get rid of the ball quicker than he wants, and then we were able to make them take snaps. So they weren't able to pop a big play, which is huge. So our kids were everything was a manageable situation for us.
Your quarterback, Andrew Cross, gets the first points on the board in the third quarter on a 12-yard run. In that kind of game, points are great, touchdowns are better, and for him to, carry that pigskin across the goal line for the first points had to have been a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, he had a big play on second down, like a 50-yard pass to Braden Stewart to set it up. Like Braden caught one between the two, and we kind of went down there, and we kind of get in a little bit of a hurry up in that situation. Once we hit a big play, we kind of get up on the ball and go. We have a couple of plays called, so he got up there, and we got the alignment we wanted, and just kind of switched the momentum so fast they couldn't get set, and we were able to get him in the end zone.
They come back, tie it. They have one of the premier kickers who put them up in the fourth quarter, Jacobo Echeverria, that, again, kicked the field goal fourth quarter to put them up 10-7. But you guys got the equalizer. You got a pretty good one yourself. Talk a little bit about Evan Senkovic.
He's been rock solid all the year. I know, like, it was a Bethel game. He missed two, but they were 40-plus yards. Jacobo is a special kid. I think Evan's a really good high school kicker and probably going to get an opportunity to play at the next level. But he's lasered in at all times. Like, we come in, we have our meet, like they call it, like Mike and them call it timeout. Our special teams guys going over the blocking. Evan's just going through his routine. Very, like, if you see him, he's never phased by pretty much anything. So, like, to send him out there in those moments, I don't second guess it at all.
People have asked me, in my days of doing this, some of the things that have changed in various sports, and I don't think it's any question, especially in the last few years, how the kicking game has changed for the better. There are kickers with big legs around the WPIAL, and that has become a weapon. Whereas not only just, okay, someone can boot one from 45, 50, maybe even beyond nowadays, but just the consistency of those mid-range field goals too has really altered probably how you go about things when you guys get into enemy territory.
Yeah, we start to talk like, our special teams guy gives us a number like, hey, he's good from here. And then it's like, just four down. We ask for 4 down territory. We have that conversation. It's like, if it's like, fourth and under 2, we'll probably go for it. If it's not, we'll kick it. So, like, we trust our guys, and I've been blessed since I've been at Moon to have a kid that can kick, and they, like you said, it's changed. Like, there's the Coles kicking camp. All these kids go and get specialized and they're trained, and it just allows us to have another weapon. So you're not going for it like on 4th and 5 from the 20. You can line up, kick a field goal.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Ryan Linn, head coach of Moon Tigers, big victory to take over second place, earn a playoff berth as they knocked off Upper St. Clair in week 8 in double overtime. You guys finished regulation tied at 10. Tell me a little bit about what's the sidelines like in that moment. When regulation ends, you have a minute or two before the captains go out, they do the coin flip and all that stuff. What are you and some of your coaches or maybe players discussing there? Is it strategy as far as what you want to do in certain situations as far as being aggressive or not being aggressive?
Yeah, I think ours was, you make a decision, like, everybody's going defense first, so you can see what you got to do, kind of talking that our way through it. And then, like, offensively, like, hey, if they score a touchdown, are we going for 2 or not? Like, situationally what we think. So kind of having those conversations there. And that's kind of like the mindset, like, hey, if we score, probably going to go for 2 here to get the win and just be done with it, because you have that opportunity then. And,
Sure.
hey, like, they kick a field goal, score a touchdown, it's over. So trying to go through that, explain to the kids, like, hey, also, if you get a turnover, secure it, get down so that, like, it's over, because you can't advance the turnover. So just kind of going over some of the rules with those guys so they know what the situations are. Yeah.
So in the first overtime, they kick a field goal. You guys answer with the field goal, unable to end it with a touchdown, but you get the equalizer to send it to a second overtime. You get the ball first, and there were some anxious moments before Andrew got it in. Before we got started, you were kind of telling us a little bit about that series.
Yeah, like, we went with a bigger package. We put Davion Taylor back at the tailback and kind of like, okay, let's try to assert ourselves a little bit here with a little more physical run game. And first overtime, he slipped on the first carry. They got good pressure on the second one, and we really couldn't move the ball, so he kind of lined it up, kicked the field goal. Second overtime, he got down inside the 5, and then Andrew went through a pass. Andrew scrambled, dove towards the stick on third down. We're like fourth and short. So like the angle, like I said, telling you earlier, the angle was too great for a field goal from there. So we're like, all right, let's go for it. Because we pushed him in on like 2nd and 1. We pushed him in, but we had a penalty. Brought it back to third and 6. So it was like, luckily they had a penalty also on that 4th down play that allowed us to move up a little bit. And then I didn't know if they were going to call him in or not, because it was like, he got on a snake and it was just a pile of bodies. And eventually we got the touchdown signal. Evan kicked extra point,
and then how we'll talk about that in a moment. But you mentioned the angle was too sharp to try a field goal. If that wasn't the case, do you think you would have gone for 3 there, or do you think you would have went for the 6?
I think if we're inside the 1.5, I think with our kids up front, I think we probably still going to go for it. And then my wife was down there on the other end, kind of pacing and losing her mind a little bit. She told everybody, she goes, he's going for it just to make you guys aware of this. He is going to go for the touchdown just so you guys can relax. And then Sean and those guys after the game were like, you really give your fans hey, Leaf, you're, getting their money's worth. I go, yeah, maybe.
That's what it's all about, right? Entertainment value.
Oh, that's right. That's entertainment value.
You guys go up, Andrew, with the touchdown, 20-13. Just talk about the defensive stop then that secured the victory.
Oh, I mean, like I said, those kids and our staff were lights out Friday night. Like, game plan wise, the execution of the plan, like, and just the effort that our kids played with. Like, Jared Moyer up front had 3 sacks. Dave Young played really well. I thought our backers tackled really well. And then our secondary was, around the ball all night, like hitting the receivers as they were ball was hitting their hands. And that was the first time they really went after Miles at the end of the game there. They put the ball in the hash. They had their, big receiver out there and try to throw a back shoulder to him. And Ethan left it a little bit inside, and Miles snapped around and grabbed it.
20-13, Moon over Upper St. Clair. 6th victory in 9 games for the Tigers. 3-1. Again, 2nd place, and you guys are headed to the WPIAL playoffs once again. What has been the difference? Again, playoff team last year, ended up overall 5-5 when the season was done. But what's been the biggest difference between what you guys accomplished last year and what, at least to this point, this team is doing?
I think it's just, another year for a lot of our seniors have under their belt. Like last year, some were first-year starters, so it's still getting used to it. And so we got end of the year, we were banged up. Like that playoff game, we were beat up pretty good. And then I think this year, another offseason of just maturing, getting physically stronger, and kind of understanding what it takes to play, playoff caliber football and kind of getting there. And that's kind of what we've seen from them.
You mentioned all the seniors on senior night. That maturity, it sounds like has been a big part of it. In that now it's a large group that has been playing together. It's their last rodeo type thing, and they've cranked up their play.
Yeah, and I know I hit on it a lot, like with them all the time, like the importance of each game and each week. I tell them, like, as we start the year, it's one of my talking points. Like, tell the freshmen, you got 40 games, 30, 20, and tell your seniors you got 10 left, and like it's all you get, the only 10 you got guaranteed. Kind of like try to hit on the importance of those. That there's not another opportunity to play football past. I mean, unless you go to college, but like you can't go play pickup. It's not the same.
Right.
So kind of put that importance and then just starts feeding with little other things throughout the season. And they've really like responded well and started kind of like you said, cranking it up a little because it is that last chance to make a run here.
Again, the defense and the ball you guys are playing in defending your own goal line, nothing new. That's kind of been your calling card since you've been at Moon. usually pretty strong on the defensive side of the ball. What has stood out about the play all season from on defense?
I think for us, it's the kids have a great understanding of what we're doing. Like I said, our staff is, I'll put them against anybody in the WPIAL in terms of like preparedness, like game planning, and like putting our kids in great spots. Like, and then our kids have just it really kind of like bought into what we're doing. So like we have guys like we blitz a lot, we play a lot of man behind it, and I'll fun saying it because we do. But our corners love the press, and they'll get up in your face, and then we got two safeties that can run and you know, cover anybody, and then our backers are solid, very smart football players, kind of solid, kind of. I think our inside backers kind of get lost in there because they're very good football players. They're just
Yeah.
solid kids in the middle. We don't blitz them a ton. They're the guys that make all the tackles in the middle. Then, like I said, our outside backers are probably two or better athletes who can get after the quarterback and do both cover and pass. And then our three up front are stout.
You said two things there that I thought was interesting. The buy-in, they have to really believe in what the coaches are trying to get them to do, and the understanding, because that's not always the same thing.
Right.
And so the IQ sounds like it's very high on this team.
It is, and then we've also like simplified it a little bit for them too. Just say like, hey, we don't have to have 1,000 things. Let's get really good at a couple things because you guys can handle you. If we play it pretty basic to a point, like you guys, you play faster. So we have like set calls we make, and then we just go from there and let the kids kind of play.
Offense, the numbers aren't gaudy, but again, when you're playing that kind of defense, you don't have to put up 35, 40 points a game. Antoine Arnott, or Arnett, excuse me, the lead team's leading rusher, Severio, Vendetti, leading receiver, and Andrew Cross, who is a seasoned veteran at this point, getting the job done, both with his arm and with his legs. Again, nothing stands out when you're looking at the stats, but when you put everything together, they're getting the job done.
Yeah, I think offensively, it's been we have a new OC this year, so we kind of working through some of those things together, and I think he's doing a really, really, really good job with our kids, and you can see it in Andrew's play a lot. Like he spent a lot of time with him, and I think Friday was probably, I thought, was Andrew's best game all season. Like staying in the pocket, making some good throws,
right.
And then running. Like we've used his legs more this year than we have in the last 2 years with him, just out of necessity. We feel like he can help us run the run game, and then we have stable backs like we always do. We have 4 or 5 kids that will turn around, hand the ball to. Antoine's kind of like the lead guy right now, but like Deontay Henry stepped up the last 2 weeks. Paul Brownell's still there. Kyle got hurt early on, but even when another kid helps out, like we'll hand the ball to Braden, we'll hand the ball to Sevy. And then outside, like Sevy's got like 20 catches, Braden Stort's got 21, and I think Jaden's got 12, but 4 of them are touchdowns. So he's kind of get the ball in his hands, he's probably going to score. So it's kind of been a full team effort on that side of the ball, and just the way I like it. More kids, more touches, a little more buy-in.
Everybody knows about the Allegheny Six, how competitive it is. It's a grind, but I thought that you guys did a very good job against a challenging non-conference schedule as well. When you look now, especially at knocking off a Trinity team that has won its conference, a Montour team that could be also on its way to winning its conference, a Penn Trafford team that you may or may not see in the playoffs because they are playoff bound out of the Big East Conference, and West Allegheny, another team like Montour that may or may not win their conference championship. So that gets you ready for the meat grind that is the Allegheny Six.
Yeah, I've always liked the way our schedule sets up with like the non-conference stuff. Allows some kids allows the your first year starters get comfortable, allows you to get kids more reps. If you got a kid banged up or sore or whatever it may be, you can kind of ease his workload that week. But then it prepares you for what's coming down the line, because once you get into conference play, regardless of who it is, there's no weeks off. I mean, I think I'll take Peters. TJ Peters has like, I mean, that place he's rolling. Like Phil at Bethel, like they're offensively they give you fits because he does a great job calling it
Right.
down there. Mike, you're gonna get like they're well coached and they're gonna have size and they're gonna have guys that can play. And then Marty at South Fed, like he's gonna find a way to get it done. Like I think their quarterback's just as good as anyone else in the conference.
Yep.
And even Dana, like for everything going on down there, I think he does a hell of a job. Those kids played for him we played him. We're still playing hard in the fourth quarter, and I think that's a testament to him that they do believe in what he's doing down there.
Yeah. Agree. We'll talk about the conference, but this victory, huge. When you kind of look big picture, and I know you coaches don't, it's what's coming up in week 9, and that's fine. But we media slugs can look big picture. But we're talking about the difference between a top 4 seed and getting kind of lost in the middle of the pack in the 6, 7, 8 area, as far as finishing in second place and third place or lower in the Allegheny 6.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think second's a great place to be. It guarantees, like I said, get you home playoff game, get you guarantee, get you a good seed, and set you up for like a good matchup for you in the first round.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we could be announced. Like we had a conversation Saturday morning, kind of like kicking around, like what we thought would happen. I think we're probably 5-6 somewhere in that ballpark, just because I think we did lose to Penn Trafford early on, and they're going to be 8-1, 8-2, 9-1 when it's all said and done. So I think
Right.
they're well worth the top 4 seed. I think Woodland Hills the same. And then the two big ones up top, Peters and Pine, are probably also that's a top 4. And then after that, I don't know how you're going to divide it up at that point.
Yeah. It'll be a fun time, no question. It always is in Class 5A. Before I let you go, I do want to ask you. You mentioned you were just singing the praises of your fellow coaches in the Allegheny 6. Last year, we saw, and rightly so, 5 of the 6 teams get into the WPIAL playoffs. See, everybody has questions for you, Coach.
Yeah, I mean,
Who
never
was
stops
that?
here.
Who was that?
As my oldest son Braxton. He is, he's lobbying for I think a V-Bucks purchase on his Xbox. So we'll have that conversation when I get out here.
See, my whole thing when I was going back to my youth, you always wait till your parents. Now we didn't have podcasts back in the 70s, but you always wait till your mom's on the phone. Then you ask, and they just wave you off like,
yeah,
don't bother
you're
me.
good.
We took this as a yes, so that's how that worked. Are you gonna give him what he wants?
He's been pretty good lately. So
Yeah, God, come on, man, be soft. Be soft every once in a while. Hard on the team, soft at home.
Well, listen, we had a 30-minute walk through Walmart this morning about his $15 limit he was not happy with. So he's still like $10 short. So we'll have to get up to that.
You know 50. What? Maybe something needs dusted. He can earn his keep there.
Yeah.
So going back to the last year, 5 teams in, and again, deservedly so, with 2 of the 3 wild cards coming from the Allegheny 6. I'm asking you to make a prediction here. Do you think that will happen again? Should it happen again? Maybe is the better question.
I think so. I think we'll get 5 in. I just think our conference is, like you said, is well known as being one of the toughest ones in 5A, right. And it's at some point, I think all 5 of us were ranked at some point in some different capacity at a different time somewhere. And I just think it's quality and it's quantity. There's 5 of us that are really good. I think they all should deserve the chance to get in. Now, that's not up to me to say that, but I think there should be 5 in.
The record again this year, before you guys, because you guys started conference play late, week 5. But the combined record, let's take Baldwin out of it, but the combined record was just, ridiculous, 20-some-3 or something like that. So, I think all 5 teams You guys are in, Moon is in, St. Clair, Bethel, South Fayette have kind of earned it with the resume. But again, that's now that's all, and there's no more mathematical equation. That's all in the hands of the committee. Do you like that, by the way?
I think it takes some of that, the situation with St. Clair a couple years ago,
Yeah.
or we got in 23. You took 8 teams of the playoffs there. We're going in at 6-4, 5-4, 5-5, whatever it may be, and then here they are at 8-2 at home. And it's like, okay, I don't know, So you feel like I think that situation is happening. I think it's great to have like at least a committee that's looking at the whole picture instead of like, oh, you got beat by 10 points and
you worry. I should say I worry that you hope that politics doesn't come into play when they're because there's a lot of wild cards up and down the 6 class or 5. The 6A doesn't have wild cards, but up and down that come into play. That you, again, if it's done right, it's probably the best way, and plus it saves a lot of brain power for me from trying to figure out some of those mathematical equations to who got in or whatever.
Well, I think if you take it the number wise, you're going to have people upset. If you take it the other way, people will still be upset. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be who are the best 12 teams.
Yeah.
Are they in the playoffs? And again, go with it, and whatever happens, and then
everybody knows ahead of time, no matter what class you're in, what you need to do to secure a playoff spot beyond the wild card. If it's like in 5A, top 3 teams, finish in the top 3, and you don't have to worry about, is the committee going to give us a fair shake or anything like that. 9th year as head coach of the Moon Tigers, Ryan Linn continues to do an outstanding job. Big victory, double overtime win over Upper St. Clair, 20-13 in week 8, and they are our week 8 WPIAL team of the week. Ryan, best of luck Friday against South Fayette, closing out the regular season and then into the postseason as well.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it.
Ryan Linn, head coach of the Moon Tigers, our WPIAL team of the week. We thank Ryan for joining us. Thanks to our producer, Chris Lackner, as well. I'm Don Rebel. We thank you for joining us. 1 week left in the regular season. It's the Rebel Yell podcast on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.